Join us and discover beautiful beaches, rugged landscapes, pretty towns, desolate mountain ranges that sweep down to stunning lakes, unique architecture, history and folklore, no shamrocks, no shillelaghs, and definitely no shenanigans, just naked Ireland. This is Abbey Street in Sligo, a town on the beautiful west coast of Ireland. In itself, the town is a really interesting place to visit, and we'll see some films of the town in future Naked Ireland editions. However, today we're visiting a very special and extremely ancient site. That's it up ahead, it's Sligo Abbey. The abbey was founded as a Dominican convent, so in fact a priory is a more appropriate description of the building, since Dominican monasteries are led by priors and not abbots. Its founder was the Norman Maurice Fitzgerald, who was the second Lord of Offaly and Justiciar of Ireland, and so the building dates from 1252. It has had a turbulent history. This is how it would have looked prior to its partial destruction, and as you might expect, it's in Romanesque or Norman style. I believe what we see here are the remains of an old house just adjacent to where the western end of the nave of the church would have sat. Alas, this part of the church hasn't survived, perhaps destroyed by those scavenging building stone in the late 19th century. You can see that the mighty walls of this building are over a metre thick. The series of smaller arches you can see directly in front of us is what's known as a rood screen, which would originally have had a gallery above it. This has been reconstructed at some point, but originally dates from the 15th century. You'll also notice that there are graves on the floor of what would have been the original church. This is because the church was used as a graveyard during the period of King William of Orange's reign, as all clergy were expelled from Ireland and the Dominican monks fled to Spain. As a result, there are some very old headstones here. Here we see the tower, another 15th century addition. It's similar to other square-shaped Norman towers, except that its construction, seemingly suspended above the roof, was really quite daring. The building and its community of monks is alleged to have been founded by Fitzgerald to pray for the soul of a Richard Marshall, 3rd Earl of Pembroke, who Fitzgerald is rumoured to have killed. The ruins of this building, while now in the heart of Sligo town, originally lay outside the town limits, and when founded it had substantial lands attached to it. We're now directly under the tower. As we enter the choir, we can see the magnificent high altar, also late Gothic like the rood screen. As well as several unique pieces of sculpture that survive here, there's also some important monuments dedicated to some of the significant people in the Abbey's history. I'll leave it to you to explore that in more detail. A closer look at the altar, and we see that it depicts foliage in relief divided by arches. Incredible that this has survived through the ages. Look at the workmanship here. This door takes us through the sacristy and chapter room. A fire badly damaged the building in 1414 and papal assistance had to be sought for its reconstruction. The problem of attaining help from the Pope at this point in history was that there was not one but three men competing in what was known as the Vatican standoff. Effectively, there were three popes: Benedict XIII in Avignon, Gregory XII in Rome, and John XXIII in Pisa. However, John XXIII was the pope that was addressed, since he was the pope supported by the English monarchy. Consequently, the building was rebuilt in 1416. The next crisis for the monastery was Henry VIII. His dissolution of the monasteries in the 1530s threatened to once again destroy the community. However, a letter was later sought from Queen Elizabeth exempting the monastery as long as the friars became secular priests. Some years later, in 1595, the building was again damaged in the siege of Sligo Castle. 6 companies of soldiers and horses were stationed here, and much of the building's timbers were taken and used in the war effort. We're now entering the reasonably well preserved cloister area. Unfortunately, as you can see, one side of the cloister no longer exists, but otherwise it's in good shape with its Gothic arches and barrel vaulted ceilings. What a beautiful little carving this is. You could almost imagine this as a tattoo. After recovering from the siege of Sligo in the years that followed, during the 11 Years' War in 1642, the abbey was once again attacked and set on fire by Sir Frederick Hamilton, with some of the friars killed. And then, as I mentioned previously, at the end of the 17th century, during the reign of King William of Orange, the Dominicans left to Spain, leaving the building vacant and to deteriorate. This was when the abbey was used as a cemetery, and some of the stone was removed for other buildings in the town. It was the beginning of the end for a functioning abbey. However, the Office of Public Works, who took it over in the 20th century, stabilised the building, and so we have the protected ruin you see today. It's such a theatrical place to visit, we can only imagine some of the terrible goings on here over the many centuries. It's certainly a building that's endured more than most. I wonder how many of the buildings we build today will still be here, even in a ruined state in 1,000 years' time. I'm hoping this video was informative. If you're enjoying this little tour, be sure to give the video a like. Please consider subscribing so as to help build the channel and encourage more videos in the future. You may even want to share this video with family and friends. Any support you can give is gratefully received. And just before we leave, we're back in the nave of the church and checking out this incredible carved memorial. This is the O'Creen tomb, the oldest surviving monument in the church. Its Latin inscription dating from 1506. This is a fascinating and monumental place to visit in the heart of Sligo town. I can't recommend it enough and hope some of you who are in a position to visit will do just that. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Naked Ireland video.